Good morning, it's John Neal here. It's Friday the 12th of September 2025. I'm on another bike ride, as you can clearly see, but this time I'm going to see if I can do a painting in the middle of it all. So let's find a scene that is suitable. What's this up here? It's Tuttle Hill. You can see where I'm going. Tuttle Hill, Witherley, Atherton, Upton that way. But you can see we've got a flag stuck on the top. St George's flag, a flag of England. Now, if we were in a World Cup competition and we're all gunning for England, I think fair enough. But we're not. And there's not a cricket match on against England against somebody else locally, so that's not an issue either. So what's the issue? Why are people suddenly sticking St George's flags of England up on lampposts and everywhere, and now on top of Tuttle Hill? Talk about it later. Meanwhile, I've made my way through Chapel End up to Hearts and Hayes and looking for a quiet spot so we can have a bit of a chat. It's time for my bench talk again. I think I might have to explain why I've got "The Earth is but one country" on my bike. The full statement is, it's not for man to, roughly speaking, this isn't exact, it's not for man to boast that he loves this country, but he loves mankind. The earth is but one country, and mankind its citizens. And this means that we are in a global situation. Over the last 150 years, we've developed such technology, both in communication and travel and so on, and the unfolding history of the British Empire, where we spread ourselves out all over the world. And included places like India, Pakistan, Africa and so on. And now, when those people, West Indies for instance as well, they see this as the homeland, England, and they want to be here. It's a great place. Great Britain, absolutely fantastic. We are revolutionary in many ways in leading the world in so many different things. So they want to come here, and then when they do come here, we're thinking, well, that's a big cultural shock. I agree, it is a cultural shock. When people come from far lands and they wear different clothes, it is a shock. I remember when I was a kid living in Coventry, my dad said to me once, you know, somebody from Coventry, they've got a shamrock in their turban, meaning they might be from Ireland or from the Far East, from India. And that's probably true. There are a lot of Polish people, West Indians, Asians, from all over the place. This is the global setup that we've got. And I'm not saying we've got to live with it, we've got to embrace it. In fact, you know, when we eat food and go out to eat, we love it. We like to go to the Chinese, we like to go to the Indian, the Thai restaurants and so on. And for that, we're grateful. But when it comes to living with people of different nationalities, suddenly we find it a bit awkward. And we tend to polarize ourselves and say, no, I'm English. Let's stick up a St George's flag. And of course, I know the issue at the moment is the boat people, the immigrants coming across in boats across the channel from France, and they have come from Afghanistan, Syria, and places in Africa, where it's a mess. They want safety, they want a better life, and so they often come to England. Another reason, by the way, is that I saw a video recently of somebody travelling in Afghanistan, in Kabul. Most people on the street were able to speak English in some form or another. So these people see England as a place that they could make a future for themselves. So, of course, the problem is, and it's a huge problem, is that there are laws that say that if immigrants appear on our shores, even if they've done it unofficially, let's put it that way, just in a boat coming across from France, we are obliged to look after them, which is sort of understandable. But then quite rightly, we say, well, hang on, we're not even looking after the poorest people who need help in this country, and I totally agree. However, this polarising rhetoric that has been thrown around by extremists about us being invaded and replaced by people from foreign lands, I find a bit abhorrent. In fact, we had a stall in the market recently as a point of engaging with people from the Baha'i community, of which I'm a member. And this is a quote from the Baha'i writings, by the way. And we were asking people how they might make the world a better place. And one of the first gentlemen I spoke to, who was in a mobility scooter, and I went up to him and I said, what do you think would make the world a better place? I don't think I better swear on YouTube, wouldn't be appropriate, but it does happen. Yeah, he says, get rid of the effing immigrants. And I went, oh right, thank you very much, sir. Thanks for your comment. Very interesting. Free speech, say what you like. And I didn't say at the time, but I thought afterwards, you know, he was in a mobility scooter. He must have been to a hospital. And I bet you a fair number of the people who attended to him, excuse me, from nurses through to the consultants, were from foreign lands. So I'm thinking if we were to magically get rid of everybody that was an immigrant, there wouldn't be many people left, and some of them who would be gone would be crucial to our society. So yeah, it's an interesting issue, but I'm afraid there's a populist argument that these bloody immigrants are invading us, and I find it a bit abhorrent. And you know, so let's stick a St George flag up or a Union Jack just to say that we're proud to be British. And in fact, I have to say, many of the things which we consider to be British are in fact imports anyway. I refer, of course, to my YouTube video and a song that I wrote of that very same subject, when so many things that we have and take for granted are in fact foreign imports. Check it out. Anyway, moving on. Oh dear, I just had to get it off my chest. Now then, today the weather's okay. I think it's going to stay like this. A bit chilly though. I put my scarf on under my thicker top. As you can see, I'm at Hartshill Hayes, and I'm going to nip off down on a usual trip round to Witherley and Upton and so on. But I'm thinking, I've been doing some paintings recently, watercolour paintings, and I sold one in a shop in Market Bosworth, Michaelmas House. So if you want to see any of these paintings and buy one, well, make your way over to Michaelmas House, gift shop in Market Bosworth, and a fair number of my paintings are for sale there. So I'm going to go around and I'll stop somewhere and find a scene. I'm thinking of one or two already, and I'll cut in and do a painting as well. So okay. Ooh, I better get some comments this time. I hope I do anyway. The earth is but one country. Yeah, very good. Right, let's move on. Yeah. And now the famous hill of Steppy Lane above Manchester. I did promise you a painting, so here we go. Watercolour. First with a pencil, quite a soft pencil to mark out the main points. The church, I think, is the focus, which is slightly to the right and the upper part of the painting. Then I'm going to wet the sky with just water. Then, this is the best bit, look, you can just daub in this blue and watch it bleed and move all over the place all on its own. I will go in later with a paper towel to make it look more cloud-like. So the water in the river will be a reflection of the sky, and just roughly put in the greens where the trees are. Here we are, twisting and turning with a bit of paper towel to give a cloud effect. I think you need to put a bit more on to make them look a bit more solid with some greys. Reds and oranges jump forward at you, look, so put some of this in the foreground, it's quite useful. And of course I'm putting more in than there is in the actual picture. I think your eye is drawn over towards the church and the spire, so there's a bit of detail to go in here, which I'll also finish off with a pen later on. The tree is done with a broken brush that I've got, which is great for making random marks which look like leaves. A few more details and we're more or less there. As I say, a bit of pen on some of the parts to make it stand out. There's the finished article. Nothing particularly special, but I thought I'd have a crack at it. I have to say the river anchor around the church here in Witherley is very attractive. There's no cycling in the churchyard, so I pushed my bike through, headed out the other way and off towards Atherton. Well, now I'm on a quiet country road, just coming out of Witherley. A bit of a wind blowing. Unfortunately, it's behind me, but on the electric bike, it wouldn't matter if it was ahead of me, because the power assist makes a big difference. And this has got to be one of the nicest little lanes coming from where it's from Witherley to Atherton, and then I have to cross the main road and go over to Upton. But you've got to do a bit of talking and riding at the same time. And it's a very quiet road, always is, so there's not a lot of trouble with the traffic coming by. I have to say, the news at the moment is quite disturbing. We've just had Charlie Hicks assassinated while he was giving a talk to students in the USA, in Utah. Horrific. He was just shot and killed there and then in front of thousands of people. And I can only presume it's for political reasons. Charlie Hicks, if you don't know, was, apparently I didn't know about him, but he's quite an influential supporter of Donald Trump, and was very right-wing and had some fairly outrageous opinions, but he was more than happy to chat to people and debate the issues. In fact, his slogan was, "Prove me wrong," which in many senses I applaud. Just let this guy go by. But to get shot in the process of these debates in front of, it was an open air session, in front of thousands of people, youngsters, was just quite appalling. And the division, and this is why the idea of unity that I was on about earlier, the unity of the human race, the opposite of course is divisiveness, division, which sums up how some political agencies want to drum up support, because you've got a common enemy, then it gives you a sense of belonging. And it's such, for me, it's such a false premise for wanting to unite people because you've got a common enemy. We ought to unite everybody in the whole world, whatever political angle they're from, whatever race they're from, whatever culture they're from. We've got to not just tolerate, but we've got to celebrate that diversity. All right, it's not a smooth path, I'll give you that much. But so long as the intention is there, an overriding intention for unity, then we're going to be a bit stuck. And I have to say, the politics, both in the USA and in Europe, and the way it's moving in the UK, is tending to go a bit pear-shaped and divisive, to suit really the ends of the political leaders who want to shout about these things. You know what? Going for a ride in the country like this helps clear the air, clear my mind of all these atrocious things that are happening in the world, because I do find them a little bit concerning, if not worrying. Right, approaching Atherton now, and across the main road over to Upton. There's a car behind me. I call this the Upton bypass. I say the main road, the lane, the country lane, is over here, look. And it comes from off the main road, goes up here towards Upton, and then it turns right off towards where I want to get home. But this farm track, which basically just serves the fields nearby, and it cuts the corner off. I've seen it on the map a few times, and I've been along it before, so I know what's here. But I just thought, yeah, well, why not? I've not been down here for a while, and if it's not too wet, if it's wet, it's a complete nightmare. But it's reasonably dry, and I hope not too overgrown. So let's take the Upton bypass, I've called it. Well, I think that would do me for today. Whoa, that's good fun. It's quite good for the drone because there's, down here in fact, there aren't so many trees and there's nobody else here. I did see a big animal. I thought it was a fox, but it looked grey. I'm not sure what it was. But That's put my bike through a bit of muddiness, which is good fun. I've got to wash when I get back. Right, that's it. Thanks for watching, folks. I hope you like this little trip out into the countryside. Like I say, helps clear the air for so many reasons. So yeah, what's the time now? Really? It's dinner time. Better get back. Okay, thanks for watching, and you'll see me next time. Okay, bye bye. Whoa, here we go.